Have you seen the beer?
I've seen the self-service dispenser
Yes,
things.
exactly.
I've seen those.
Absolutely. We've got every kind of beer, and you just go up, tap your card, pint glass comes down, fills up, and off you go.
Have you seen the Simpsons where they've got the Duff machine and they select 20 different types of Duff, and then it zooms up and all the pipes just feed into one beer pipe?
Welcome to Cloud Realities, an original podcast from Capgemini. And this week, a conversation show about the move to cloud and digitalization within a highly regulated industry that is itself driving an increase in digital collaboration across its ecosystem. I'm Dave Chapman.
I'm Esmee van Giesen.
And I'm Rob Kernahan.
And I'm delighted to say, to talk about the change in such a complex situation, we've got Danny Polaine, who's the CIO of Thales in the UK. Danny, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Our pleasure. It's good to see you.
And yourselves?
You doing well?
Yes, very good, actually. Yeah, very good.
Brilliant. Well, it's lovely to see you. We've got we've got Rob here. How
Hello,
are you doing?
David.
Have you been crying, Rob?
Where's that? Yeah, just I saw you coming and I couldn't help.
Doesn't he? He looks
And
a bit
I'm not
like
sure if it's tears of joy or tears of sadness, Dave.
that. So you stay up a bit late last night?
I didn't know. I was in bed in good time.
What time did you go to bed?
It was about 10 o'clock, actually.
Marcel, did you sign off that? 10 o'clock seems a bit late to me.
Rob, you sure you're not choking on the coffee that you bought for yourself and not
Yes,
us?
exactly.
Oh,
I'm glad you brought that up, Danny. So Danny and I was sitting here working quite hard, pre-read, and then in Waltz, I think they waltzed.
Yeah, I was
Let's call it waltzing.
Sauntered.
Sauntered in.
taunted.
Yeah, Rob and Ez carrying nice coffee each.
It was nice coffee,
Pretty pleased with
actually.
themselves, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, the best part was it got bought for us as well. So
Yeah,
I mean, look at that.
they treated us.
I mean, Marcel was
relation.
there too, and he
I
didn't.
wonder if you were there, we were being treated.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you never know. You never know. It's disappointing anyway.
well, I mean, let's be honest, Dave. Our relationship is filled with disappointment. Just constant disappointment.
Transaction and disappointment.
Transactional disappointment, I think, would we describe how we work. So that's cool. It's like
Everyone's going to be
just
doing
another day at the office, Dave.
Everyone's going to be doing it. That's the way work life's going, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Well, we'll just sell ourselves to AI and off we go. Be
Exactly.
fine.
We'll be able to automate transactional disappointment.
Yeah.
It'll happen faster.
Take a lot of weight off us, actually, wouldn't it? Yeah. We could then go and enjoy ourselves.
It'll be a burden I don't have to carry anymore. Ez, how you doing? You all right? Is
Doing good,
your
yeah.
coffee nice? What did you
Do
go
you
for?
actually know that Marcel has a super bladder?
A super bladder?
Yeah,
A what?
I found
What's
out
one of those?
yesterday.
Is it mechanical? He's half made of metal anyway.
I didn't ask for details, but he really, yeah.
So how does that show up? What's the advantages of such a thing?
Well, he doesn't have to visit the toilet.
The conveniences.
Yeah,
Well,
the
when-
convenience.
but when he does, he's there for an hour.
I don't know. I'm not timing it.
It's like unloading. We know when you've got a mobile home. You have to go to like one of those things where you have to, get an industrial unit to sort the situation out.
It's like standing next to a racehorse.
Wow, you're calling Marcel a racehorse. He's going to be happy with that.
With that mental image ringing in our heads.
Now I am crying.
What's confusing you this week, Robert?
AI privacy nightmare, David.
Oh my good God.
It's coming. It's coming. I tell you what, we don't understand it yet. But did you know that people are actually having very long conversations with AIs?
I've heard of such a thing, and then they get terribly upset when they switch them off.
No, well, the younger generation particularly are using them like therapy sessions. Yeah, right. So they're talking to AI, but they're talking to the AIs for hours.
Yes.
And you sort of go, what information have you given this AI over the period of this long conversation, right?
Very true.
And who owns that data and what are they using it for? So what they reckon is if you're talking, I mean, it's all right. We all got used to talking to the digital assistant type thing. But there's these very long, detailed things going on. And it's like a therapy. And you think, well, what is the privacy implication of this?
I mean, it's a fair point because...
I mean, can you imagine if you told an AI all your private thoughts and then it got leaked onto the internet?
I mean, it wouldn't be great. It wouldn't be great.
It's not a fun day, that one, is it, Dave? No.
It
So
wouldn't be
I've actually got an example of this that I had rolled out IBM Watson about 8 years ago to the service desk for the service desk.
Right.
And we were looking through all of the conversations that were going on. And there was one that was around midnight
Right.
from an engineer that basically said, and we call the assistant Tally. Okay, that's what we marketed it as. So it said, "Hey Tally, it's midnight. It's just me and you. Let's chat."
That's not a rest of a dialogue I want to read.
Over that. but you are right. My immediate sense is it will allow you to be profiled at a level that much deeper than you're currently already being profiled.
So if you think about,
we all know your buying habits are profiled at the moment, Robert.
So social engineering. If I get hold of that data, you socially engineer for an individual. I mean, that's quite dangerous.
Your capital ROB 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 star passwords are going to be good.
They will, yeah. But no, because guessing passwords. That's a very good example of it. Where if I know how you think, the words you use, I can maybe tend to understand what you might know.
Another AI will be able to do that.
Exactly.
So one AI will just be able to then summarize you.
That's a terrible thought, isn't it?
Robert.
My summary is probably going to be quite short. Not much of interest here.
The AI will go, "I had to stop.
I got so bored." Can you imagine if the AI comes around and go, "I'm not talking to you anymore because you're so boring"? I mean, that's going to be a bad day, isn't it? That's a bad day.
You would feel judged.
Yeah, more so. Well, I'm used to it with you, so I suppose it's part of the course, isn't it?
It's kind of like, we might come on later on to talking about how people have to change with digital.
On the weekend, when you're not around and I feel like I need judged again, I can get the AI to do it. That might actually fill an emotional gap. Maybe there's something in this.
Research actually showed that the AI is usually very positive. So if you have your AI as a therapist,
it'll blow smoke.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I can't be dealing with that. I can't deal with positivity.
Because it's only going to say what you want to hear because it understands your thinking. So it's going to probably,
They'll go like,
it will say what you want to say.
Level 4 architecture. It's my favorite thing. You're brilliant at it. You say stuff like that.
Well, maybe that's why the people are talking to AI more, because they get compliments.
Yeah.
Sort of reinforce, and then it will be able to wheedle out all your secrets.
Yeah, that's it. I'm compromised. It's over. Anyway,
I think we've got to the bottom of that.
What? That it is an AI privacy nightmare?
Yeah.
All right.
I think the clue is in the question.
What you said.
yeah. Telegraphed that a bit.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right. It was a good one.
Have I disappointed you again, Dave?
I think you might have you've disturbed me a bit.
Have I?
Disturbed me a bit. I think so.
All right. I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's leave it there.
Let's move on.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Let's move on to talking to Danny. So, Danny, why don't we just start with just introduce Thales in the UK to us?
Okay, so Thales it's a global technology company. It's around globally 83,000 employees across 68 countries. We got about 7,800 people in the UK, and just as a little bit of a gauge, we generated around 20 billion euros in sales in 2024.
Right.
Okay? Now, I describe Thales as that company that everybody uses, but not many have heard of.
Right.
Okay? Apart from forums in defence and so on and so forth. It's a company. The technology that we produce is used in everyday life.
So where would I have come across it, for example?
Okay, so just as examples from a defence point of view, you're looking at, we designed the Queen Elizabeth class aircraft carriers. We're a world leader in cybersecurity, and one of the ones that a lot of people don't realise is, we've been in AI for over 10 years.
Right.
We're a leading AI company. It's in a lot of our products. It's prevalent in a lot of our products, but we're not really known for it. But, going on from that, we helped build the International Space Station, but we also produce all of the UK passports, all of the UK driving licenses, and all of the, a lot of the bank cards that are out there. So if you pull your bank card out of your wallet, if you look on the back, you'll usually see a reference to either Thales or Gemalto.
It's an amazing array of products. What would you say is what's the baseline sort of capability that Thales provides on such a sort of diverse range of products?
Well, in the UK, we're 70 to 80% defence. Okay. But obviously, we've got diverse products that I've already mentioned, like passports, driving.
But is it like engineering, or is it the fact it's all regulated, secure, or?
It's an engineering company, but we do so much more than that.
Right.
And when you look outside of the UK, when you look at France and various other countries, there's a huge array of products that are, and I've been in Thales for 9 years now. And when I visited the offices, or visit the offices around the UK, and there's many of them, I'm still surprised at the different products that we produce. I don't come from a defence background.
Right.
I come from banking, financial services, SaaS, those kind of industries. And when I walk into Thales offices, even now after 9 years, I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Right.
It's like, wow, look at that. There's a guy over there that's actually, he's programming or he's messing around with a missile. It's just it's a weird thing. But then you'll look over there and somebody's building a satellite.
Right.
And someone over there, when you go to offices where the passports are, the array of equipment there is to produce the passports and the driving licenses and the bank cards is amazing.
Classic, I did not know we did that type conversation that goes on, doesn't it? Yeah.
And then you get back to the more traditional, which is, with the eyes and ears of the Royal Navy. We produce their sonars, their radars, their combat management systems. And again, it wasn't until I saw the documentary on the Queen Elizabeth aircraft carriers quite some time ago. And I'm sitting there, and I think, look, that's Thales.
That's us.
And look, that's labelled Thales as well.
Right.
And you don't realise exactly what we produce.
And your role within it as the CIO in the UK, just give us a sense of your day job.
So I look after, obviously, the enterprise networks. Okay, so that includes our OS network, our secret network, all of the security around that, all of the, the service management, the service desks. It's an enterprise CIO role. Okay, so servicing 7,800 people who are very demanding. They're engineers.
They also know how technology works as well, aren't they? They're the worst type of end user because they think they can do better.
Best type of end user, you mean?
Yeah, the best type of end user.
I have to be very careful. They have an inkling on technology, and they have a view.
Yeah, they have a point of view.
I think every engineer has an opinion. That's definitely for sure. Yeah. They're not shy in giving feedback.
Absolutely. And you're talking about some very, very intelligent people. Okay, so we try and do the best we can. IT as a whole, if you look at IT, it's something that I always say that you measure your success on how many complaints you don't get.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
You don't go into IT expecting praise. Okay. So if we're keeping a good baseline, keeping our services up and running, making sure the engineers get what they need, it's success. We breathe and we go into another day.
As long as the printers are working. Keep the printers working.
Well, that's a mute subject because I've taken a lot of the printers away. But hey, yes.
but it's a very good point in service, particularly like the basic services like the network or the desktop or whatever. You can't win. A perfect day is a quiet day, and every other day can be chaos. And you only hear from people when they're not happy.
Yeah, and even if it's a system that you don't look after, that's something like Teams,
it's still your fault,
and it's still our fault.
Yeah,
it's that whole perception thing. You've got to keep that perception up. It's so important. It's like service desk. People ignore the service desk. People think they're irrelevant. They are absolutely not. That's your front door into your organization, into technology organization. Okay? And they're so important. And that's where you develop your future engineers.
And with the service desk or a call center, phoning up and being angry never gets you anywhere because it's not their problem. They're just trying to help you. That's the first thing that people should remember is this human on the end of the phone is trying to do something to make your life better. And when you're nice to them, they generally want to go that extra mile. They try and do extra things.
Why do you shout at them then?
It's like sending a steak back in a restaurant.
Yeah, it's like...
You don't know what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, you're like, oh, don't do that.
The service desk, hey.
I think that's where the British have perfected it, where we just don't complain and we just sit there and they go, is everything all right? And you go, yes, absolutely perfect, thank you, even though it's the worst thing you've ever eaten in your life.
It's also the best way to get feedback is your service desk. And I see that so many companies do not use that as like the funnel. And, what is it that they're actually complaining about?
It is where you're going to get the true sense of how your service is being experienced.
Absolutely.
And they can ask follow-up questions. They can say, just if you have 1 minute, what is the thing that bothers you the most of what you're working with?
Absolutely.
That was a perfect funnel.
Well, one of the most important things for me on a service desk is getting out there and talking to the people on the floor that are using your systems. Because if they weren't there, we wouldn't be there. And that's such an important message. Okay? User experience is everything. Okay? We don't put in IT for IT. We put it in for users who make things, sell things, pay the bills, and keep us in employment. Okay? So unless we are understanding what our users are experiencing, and if they're getting a good service or a bad service, then we're failing.
So let's use that as a bit of a bridge into the transformation that you're driving at the moment, which is involving things like moving to the cloud and workplace. What's prompting the move, particularly within the industry you're in, which is highly regulated and complex to do technology transformation in?
I think there's a number of reasons. Okay? So if you look at cloud in defense as a whole, there's a big move to the cloud. If you look at the MOD, if you look at the SDR that's come out recently, the messages are pretty clear. They want to do business with companies that are in the cloud. They want to be able to collaborate with partners, with SMEs that are in the cloud. Okay, and there's not enough companies in the defense industry that have truly adopted cloud. Okay? So
they're trying to shift the whole ecosystem.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, you've got that side of things in defense, but, from an internal point of view, we want to give our engineers, our users, that autonomy to be able to do things quicker, okay? To be able to be more effective in their job, to create opportunities for revenue. Okay.
Right.
And I think that from a cloud point of view, that really does. Okay. And if you look at it from a pure spend point of view, we all know that cloud doesn't save you money in the short term. Okay. When hyperscalers first came out and started marketing, we'll save you money. No, you're not going to. Okay. That's a message that's clear now. But if you look at spend of IT against revenue and the opportunities that it provides for revenue increase, okay, you look at the percentage of IT spend, that should really go down because your revenue's going up and your spend is not going up at the same rate. And I think that's key.
And I think that, but that's an awkward conversation that has to go on, isn't it, with the chief financial officer, which is you can't just take the IT budget as a thing and squash it, because that's what you do. You have to sort of blend the understanding that it's not spend to save, it's spend to grow. Yes. And I think that's a clunky conversation. It doesn't happen enough. And the beleaguered CIO in the corner that can't or push out of that space has quite a frustrating job to do.
Well, the advent of cloud is really the beginning of trying to change the conversation about technology from being a cost-centric conversation to being a growth-driving conversation. Yes. And yes, cloud is one of the drivers of that, but also I sort of think that over the period of probably the post-millennial period, IT as an industry managed to get itself into a position where we'd and I include myself in this, we'd maybe spent too much and not delivered enough value, and therefore it was being framed as something that you actually had to manage down or manage in a very controlled way, and it almost became like a supplier management piece. Versus where we are post-cloud, we're in a position where the digitalization of business, no matter what that business is now an existential conversation for a business.
Yeah, and I think if you look at our engineers, the business have historically always looked at IT as an overhead. It's a cost overhead. Okay, every year you go into the same conversation. Why's your cost gone up? What am I actually getting for that? I'll get a laptop and a printer. That's it. What else do you get? Yeah. But it's changing that narrative so that you become an enabler, not just an overhead. Okay? You work with the business so that you're providing them with opportunities to be better for revenue growth, all those good things, rather than just an overhead. Right. And that's a difficult thing to do. That narrative is difficult to change, okay, because it always comes back down to the number each year.
Yeah.
So it needs people with a bit of vision to understand that, hey, if we invest a bit more, we can do a lot more.
So it's that return on investment versus the betting the future or the return on what the future will be, which is, it can be very difficult because somebody always wants a transactional business case, P times Q, this, I get that. Whereas actually, when you're building this type of momentum within an organization, it could take a couple of years to get the very dramatic results out at the other end. So it takes a bit, it's not leap of faith, but it takes a little bit of digital understanding, doesn't it?
It is also, yes, it does. And it becomes a much more systemic conversation than you might imagine, where in kind of last generation, sort of IT/business relationship had a certain form to it. And to our conversation earlier, one of the main touch points of that were things like the help desk and support services. In a next generation IT business interface, that blurs very significantly, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the key here is you need leadership that have vision.
Yeah.
Okay. They have to buy into this. If they look at this from a traditional standpoint, it doesn't work. Okay, it requires investment. It requires a little bit of a leap of faith. You know,
A bit of courage.
Absolutely, yeah.
So beyond the ecosystem that Thales and the UK are part of, what else is driving the decision making of the board as you're talking to them at the moment? So what are the main challenges that you're hoping to trying to address with increasing the digital conversation?
Well, I think group as a whole within Thales, there is a big push to move to the cloud. Yeah, but it means different things to different countries. Okay, so you know, there probably was a thought in the beginning that we could create a global cloud that everybody could move to, and we're all sitting there as a nice happy family, and
All smiling and singing, hands in hand.
Absolutely.
Isn't that is what it's like, isn't
Yeah.
it?
You would probably look at Europe and say, particularly in Europe, we're slightly more fragmented than you might hope. Let's just leave it at that, shall we?
How does that come about, Rob?
It's a lot of, well, I don't know, a couple of thousand years of history always helps, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think, you know, from we're a French-owned company, and France are really pushing the boundaries from a global cloud point of view. But there are obviously within sovereign countries, especially within the UK, we have a need for country eyes only, for OS, all those good things, which means we have to keep our data within the UK.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah. Right.
You can't get away from that. Okay? We've pushed the boundary. We've looked at it, see how can we get our data into a more global solution, which, you know, makes sense. It always makes sense to use a global solution.
And cloud providers are responding to that requirement.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
it's the tension, though, isn't it? Because you want cross-nation state collaboration with engineering. You need that to develop what you're developing, but then there is a requirement to say certain data has to stay where it needs to stay for the other reason. And you say, well, just handling the orchestration of the data alone makes your head hurt.
Yeah. And it's really difficult, and I've not experienced it in any other company. And because it's defence, because you're working on projects that are CEO and have to say sovereign, you know, you're in a situation sometimes where you've got a project, it's in the UK, you've got your French counterparts coming over saying, what's that? You say, I can't tell you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Even though you're part of the same company, okay, which makes life difficult
Dave,
sometimes.
we should use that as the new corporate excuse. Can't tell you, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, you can't. I think that'd be brilliant when they poke some. I'd love to share with you, but I'm just not allowed to.
Yeah.
Computer says no.
The computer says.
So what are the other dynamics that you're dealing with at the moment then that the move to cloud's going to help with?
So I think that cloud will help in many situations. Okay, from a security standpoint, you know, we're heavily accredited and governed, okay, by Emedy rules, whether it be Cyber Essentials Plus, DevStan 05138, all those things, and the requirements for that accreditation are growing and are getting harder.
Right.
Yeah, it's not getting easier, is it?
No, it's absolutely getting harder. Okay, so to run an infrastructure on premise and try and keep up with that regulation is difficult. It was difficult before, but it's getting more and more difficult. It takes a lot of resource. It takes a lot of feeding and watering to do what we need just to stay compliant. Okay, so I think cloud helps in that regard. And long gone are the days when companies would look at cloud and think, oh, it's not in, we can't see it and feel it.
Yeah.
So it's not secure, right? I think there's a general perception now that these hyperscalers know what they're doing. Okay?
Yeah.
This is their bread and butter.
Yeah.
Okay? If they're not doing that standard security piece, the patching
I'd say
piece,
they're
all that.
above average of technology.
Yeah.
So, you
Massively.
know, there's more of a trust. So I
Yeah.
think from a compliance point of view, it makes it a lot easier. Okay.
So let's talk about then, in that space, what the critical success factors tend to be and what you're thinking about in terms of your technology transformation and making it successful within such a complex environment. So what are the things that stand out for you as things that you're losing sleep over?
So I think organization and culture,
Oh,
key.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got to change mindsets of not only those in IT, but those in the business as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't think there's many that actually realize what a pivot this is. You know, we're going from going left to going right. Because unless you've got that organization right and the culture right and that mindset right, you know, we're going to fail. Whatever we do.
What I found when I've worked with organizations and also run cloud transformations myself is that the ripple effect of it is really very significant. It certainly changes everything that an IT organization does and what it's about, particularly if you're trying to drive value from it rather than just take cost out, as you were saying earlier. But also, to your point, that ripple effect doesn't stop at the edge of technology. It redefines the relationship and the conversation that business and technology need to have.
And there's a point there where the something dramatic happens in the business through a technology change or a cultural change, and then everybody looks up and goes, "How did they do that?" And then you go, "Aha!" The secret of all this new tech and cloud comes in, and you can turn it around much faster. Lighthousing, pioneers. It is though, but it is a bit like the Oregon Trail, isn't it? That you have to cross over to get somewhere new, and it can be painful.
Yeah.
Something as simple as Copilot. The amount of people that have come to me and said, "We need Copilot. We really need Copilot." Why do you need Copilot? Because it's great. Okay, but what are you going to use it for in a work context? Well, I use it all the time at home. Okay, but what are you going to use it for in a work context? So Copilot, absolutely, we want to roll Copilot out. It's something that it's one of our priorities to get it out there. But if we don't teach people how to use it properly, and they don't utilize it, then what's the point?
I was in this conversation, but like literally yesterday with the analysts and going about licensing ramp up of AI productivity tools, etc., and their usage, and you get this spike and then it comes down. And the whole point is, if you don't bake it into the mindset to use it on a daily basis, people forget it's there.
And use it in the right way.
And
using it just like you would Google. How do you use it? What's the right things that you've got to ask for? What are the things that you can ask for? Okay, and giving them that freedom, but the training to be able to utilize and get the most out of it.
And it's an always on thing, reminding them, poking them, saying, "Don't forget to use it. Why haven't you used it today? You should be doing it for that." But I think when you story tell about how AI helped a human, and it's a worked example, it works a lot better than like the more abstract discussion.
I think as well, beyond the conversations you have to have around the new possibility, new ways of working, all of the things that are going to connect to it, there's an important thing as well, I think, in terms of unleashing it and creating the right autonomy, is to think about how governance works in the organization and how empowerment works. Now, difficult, I would imagine, in an organization that's regulated. So how are you threading that needle?
So governance autonomy, Hey, for those that can't see me, I've got notes here, so I'm going to refer back to this.
Very wise. Very wise.
Did the governance committee tell you had to say exactly what they told you to say?
We believe in empowerment within guidelines.
Let me just get to page 74.
Subsection D, paragraph 9.
So, governance and autonomy. To your point, you've got to balance autonomy with control.
Especially in your world.
Absolutely. And that's a really difficult piece, because I want to give our engineers the autonomy to be more efficient, to stand up that server that they need to do the testing of their Dubry flip. That they takes 2-3 months at the moment, but could take half an hour to an hour, and get them up, running, producing product quickly. But you've got to do that in a controlled environment, because you can't forget that we've got security, we've got financial implications here as well, right? So that balance is quite difficult.
Well, one of the things that we talk to organizations a lot about is when you get to the cloud and everybody's bought into metrics like, we're going to reduce your time to market and increase your innovation. And people go, well, we went to the cloud and our time to market's about the same. It's like, how's that working? And it's like, it's because they haven't got the empowerment shift right.
Yeah. They still have to fill in a form to get their server.
They haven't changed anything else about what they do. It's just their processing is now running in a different data center somewhere, but they're doing all the same things. How important is that shift in your business to want to increase the rate of innovation and reduce the time to market? In a regulated industry, are the conditions still the same? Can you still create the same empowerment around your product teams, or are you thinking the frameworks are a bit different here?
It's more difficult in our environment. In defense, absolutely, it's more difficult, but it's achievable, absolutely. Because I think if you look at companies in the defense industry, Thales included, they've got some very, very old ways of doing things. Okay, and a lot of the time we do things because we've always done it like that. Okay, and it's one of the most annoying things I ever hear. Why do you do that? Because we've always done it like that. Okay, but you can do it in a different way. But we've always done it like that. So there is, I think, personally, there's more opportunity to change in this industry than there probably is in any other, because other industries have moved forward a lot quicker.
Yeah, you're like leapfrogging.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're so below that baseline in this industry that we've got to catch up in order to move forward. So there's so much scope.
It's a funny balance as well, because you build some of the world's most complicated things, right? So literally the hardest things to produce that do very important jobs, and yet some of the sort of ways of working in the mindset still set a little bit too far in the past. But yeah, the leapfrog point is you can learn from everyone else's mistakes and bounce over them, can't you? There's a good opportunity.
Patterns and understanding. And I mean, things like finance must play a role here too, because one of the other aspects that shifts in a much bigger way than you might imagine when you move to the cloud is the financial framework for your technology shifts from being a capex intensive investment profile to an OPEX shift.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's quite well talked about that, but doesn't make it any easier that it's well talked about, I assume.
No, it's always a difficult conversation. Our multi-year budget processes are set in stone.
Right.
Okay? So it's difficult to change that mindset that we're going to pivot to a completely different way of working, a different way of charging the businesses. Now, what that ultimately does is it puts more onus on the business to forecast far better what they're going to spend. And let's be honest, from a business point of view, they've got a lot to concentrate on. They've got to get their product out. They've got to hit their EBIT.
So
their
why
revenue.
all of a sudden do I need to think about IT?
Yes, that's your job. I'm not doing that. That's your job. So it's a difficult conversation. It's a difficult process to go through.
I mean, let's be honest. Most CFOs would probably be glad if cloud didn't exist, so they can keep a nice CapEx 5-year depreciation cycle, so their spreadsheet looks perfect. But unfortunately, it does, and that's
not to mention a 5% year-on-year reduction.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. There's
what do you mean when you turn the light on and you don't turn it off? We're going to get charged more.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's the thing, though. We've lived with electricity metering, water metering, gas metering. It's like this is just compute metering, but it suddenly just causes chaos.
I think there's an element here of something we talked about earlier, which is hang on, now I've got to worry about all of those things that previously you did, and if I don't get any more value out of that, then why should I?
It's just a headache, isn't it?
So I think it connects to well, what are they going to get for that? So yes, it's not now just about the printers and the interface through the support group. Now it becomes about like true digital enablement. So I've now got to think about that. Okay, I'll take that on, but that then has to show up in my product set, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And there is a huge onus on the business to take advantage of. Let's look at cloud and what it's going to do for you. It's going to save you time, okay?
Yeah.
But unless you utilize that time in a way that enhances your revenue and your time to market and those things, then what's the point of having time? If you go outside and have another fag during that time that you've just saved, what's the point? Okay? So there's an onus on the business, on the engineers to utilize the time that's saved with the technology you're giving them to actually do something with it.
That reminds me of one of the best business cases ever I saw, which was somebody took 2 minutes off the boot time of the laptop and said, times it by 100,000 in the workforce, and just said, I'm going to get you 80,000 man days back. And it was just like, but that's not how humans behave, right? They still get the coffee or go out and speak to whoever.
Well, that was the foundation of one of my previous business cases.
Let's bring us to a bit of a conclusion and maybe come full circle on notions of regulation, particularly within this specific industry and trying to drive transformation in the industry. If there is organizations out there that are trying to thread the same needle, what are the couple of bits of advice that you would give based on the journey you've been on so far in terms of making that change and making the argument for that change?
So making the argument for the change, I think I've alluded to that previously, that I think it's important to make that point up front. This isn't a short-term cost saving. Okay, when you don't compare the costs that you have right now and say in 1-2 year time they're going to be lower, that's not going to happen. Okay, so there has to be a realistic conversation that you've got to look at this in terms of the cost is going to go up, but it's going to present with you better business opportunities. Okay, which have the opportunity to grow the revenue and grow the EBIT, which is what is important. Okay, from a CFO's point of view. And I'm not a CFO, but I'm sure they will, if they see the costs going up, but that percentage of overall revenue going down and their revenue is going up exponentially, they won't care.
Yeah. Eventually, though, but there's a lag effect, isn't there?
Yes.
You've got to spend money now.
Yes.
There's a bit of it should happen, and then you've got to wait, and then it kicks in.
Yeah.
And it's that period, maybe, 12 months, 18 months or whatever, where, is it going to happen?
But
And
the
it
other
does.
piece is, organizational structure and governance, which we've already mentioned. But the organizational structure and the skills that you need for cloud are completely different than what you need for an on-premise environment, a traditional IT department. Okay, they're different. They're completely different, and you need people with the right mindset to be able to take that on. Okay, and you need the governance framework in place before you move to cloud. Otherwise, it will run out of control.
Ez.
Yeah, so Danny, we've been talking about so much, but I've been actually reading an article in the Financial Times.
It's not about me, is it?
No, I didn't spot your name.
Would that be in the Financial Times?
Probably not, actually.
No, let's dive into that. No. And it's talking about software-defined everything in defense, arguing that the biggest obstacle isn't technology, but it's humans adapting to new ways of working. And I think it touches upon what we already talked about in the conversation throughout. Could you say that, systems can move to the cloud, but actually migrating cultures and mindsets is way more difficult?
It's always more difficult. And that goes back 20, 30 years. Whatever you've tried to change in an organization from a technology point of view, mindset, people, organizational structure, that's always the most difficult thing. And I think it's the thing that a lot of the time is taken for granted, or it's the emphasis isn't put on it, that change management team to make sure that those changes that you're doing are with the business, with the company, and not to them. And it's a huge point. And, I've made that mistake in the past of thinking, hey, we'll roll that tool out. Everyone's going to use it because they want it and they love it. And you get it out there, and then, a year later you look at it and no one's using it. So unless you take people on that journey, you're going to fail every time.
There's a big opportunity, though, with software defined, right? So going back to regulation and compliance and all that exciting stuff we need to deal with, you can codify it. And so as long as you've used that codified structure to create what you're trying to do, so allowing the engineer to fire up the service, if he uses curated software-defined things that you've provided, and that's good, it's integrated, observed, it's got identity access installed, and all that sort of stuff, you can pass that autonomy to them. Because, you've used sensible software-defined structure that we know meets compliance and regulation and security standards, so you can just get on with it. And then you can monitor that in cloud and say when people do something silly, you can auto-correct it and things like this. So now this opportunity to say, I can give you the autonomy because the risk profile's changed, and if something does go awry, I can fix it really quickly.
But then still, I think the emphasis on, I understand the change management. What you see a lot in companies as well is that, no, the changes are managed by the change management system. And then leadership is like, well, maybe they see a dashboard of the changes or not. But, in the end, who's responsible of the real transformation?
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes back to what I said, at the beginning, which was you need leadership with vision, and you need leadership that buys into the changes that you're implementing. Because if the workforce don't see that in their leaders, then they think, well, why are we doing it? What's the point?
Software-defined defense, though, specifically, I guess, what is that? For those who haven't read the materials on it, how does that show up, and what does it mean in terms of influencing the transformation that you're doing?
I'm not sure that I can probably allude to how it's influencing the change that we're going through. But, SDD from an MOD point of view is so important to them. Okay. It's given them flexibility because hardware is slow. Okay? It's costly. Trying to get your hands on the hardware to change something rather than having just some software that you can change on the fly, and it changes how something operates, is so important, especially in the battlefield. Okay, that battlefield is changing, and SDD is a key component of that. Rapid innovation, deployment, and enhanced security. Okay? So from a security standpoint, if you're finding that your product is insecure, with SDD, you just change it. You just change it on the fly, and you make it more secure overnight. With the historical hardware, That's very difficult to do.
Yeah, because if it's fixed, when you send it out, you have to be very confident it's going to work. Whereas if it's software defined and it doesn't quite do what you need it to, you can change it. You just go change it. So you're sort of bringing the power of what we know from cloud into, that space.
It's not only that, but you can also change what a product does. Okay, so historically you build a bit of hardware and there you go, you throw it out there and it does one thing. Okay, and that's it. Yeah, you want to do something else, you build another bit of hardware and you throw that out there. But SDD, you can pivot and change what something does. As an example, we got something called Storm 2. And Storm 2 was originally designed to counter radio-controlled improvised devices, so IEDs. Okay, so to block that signal so that it protects, the boots on the ground from the explosion. But we've redeveloped that now. It's a Thales product. We've redeveloped it, and now it's there to block drones. Okay,
right.
But that's been done very rapidly and deployed very rapidly into the battlefield. Okay?
How did you get the people in that mindset? Because the technology evolved, but how did your teams, how did it get into that mindset of, it can change, it can actually become everything that we say we want it to be?
Because it's easy to do.
Okay, yeah.
Historically, it would have taken years, okay? Because you would have to get the hardware and you develop the hardware and build the hardware and throw the hardware out there and support the hardware. With SDD, it's easy to do. Okay, so an engineer always wants to make things better.
Yeah, is that the only thing? It's just that now that technology is. It's possible.
Technology is enabling it.
And it's not that people need to widen and open up their, just getting used to the idea that there's so many possibilities right now.
Yeah, technology is driving change.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the key. Technology is really driving change, especially in the defense industry, and it is going so quickly. And I think engineers, naturally understand that unless they keep up, they're going to fall behind. And, companies like Thales is the same thing. Unless we keep up with these things and AI and all those good things that we mentioned before, unless we keep up, we are going to fall way, way behind, because it's not just the traditional defense partners now that are producing all of this. You're getting new companies on the market all of the time. So trying to keep up with that technology, the engineers have got to keep up with what they're doing.
To your point, Ez, though, I think through the conversation, when others arrive and you see what they're doing, seeing is believing and you understand it. I think that's a big cultural shift for organizations. You get inspiration from others and you go, well, if they're doing that, we're really good at what we do. We can do that.
Yeah, not only doing it quickly as well. Overnight, there are new players in the market just coming out of the woodwork. So, as a traditional organization, you've got to change.
Keep you on your toes.
Absolutely. Otherwise you lose. Simple as that.
What do you see in terms of cross collaboration within site organizations? Because usually they're very linear.
Well, collaboration is a key word at the moment within defence. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, if you look at the SDR, it's all about collaboration between suppliers. Okay, and it's got to improve. And one of the drivers to that, and one of the things that's come out of that report, is a move to cloud, because it makes collaboration easier. Okay, but there's not enough suppliers out there at the moment that are truly embracing cloud to enable that improvement in collaboration. That supply chain has to collaborate better in order to make it more effective.
What would you think is the biggest obstacle to get that done?
I think supply chains have historically worked isolated, okay, and they've always looked out for their own advantages. Okay, so collaborating with others, opening up your doors is a pretty difficult thing to do and embrace.
But building trust in that is tough, yeah. So you're potentially working with competitors and things like this. It's uncomfortable. Relationships have to be built, and you have to learn to trust each other to get it to work, don't you? That's a big part of it.
That's one of the reasons the MOD set up the DSCCP, another acronym there. Throw in.
Nicely named. We like that. Yeah, let's go for that one. How many do we need?
I've got no notes in front of me to refer to what that actually means. So that's the Defence Supply Chain Capability Program. Okay, so that was created to create resiliency and collaboration within the supply chain within defence. Okay, and underpinning that is cloud. Okay, that's that's one of the big things about that. And they've run a number of war games, and one of the war games they ran was with Thales. So what they did is they looked at and simulated an increased demand for the LMM, which I've mentioned before, which we make in Belfast. And the test was to test the resilience of that supply chain. Okay, and it's not the only war game that's been run. There's been many others, but that one was run with Thales, and what came out of it was what we've been saying all along today, which is collaboration is needed within the supply chain, and to enable that, a move to cloud is essential.
On that note, let's close our conversation for today. And Danny, thank you so much for spending some time with us and giving us insights into your day-to-day challenges.
Thank you for inviting me.
There's a lot going on there.
There is.
There's a lot going on. Well, good luck with that move to cloud and the digital transformation that comes with it. But before we let you go, we end every episode of this podcast by asking our guests what they're excited about doing next. And that could be you've got a great restaurant booked at the weekend, or it could be something in your professional life, or a bit of both. So, Danny, what are you excited about doing next?
Okay, so I'll give you a bit of both. And the first one's about work, and it's going to be a bit of a boring one, but yeah.
But you're excited about it, though.
I'm truly excited about, the role that I'm doing right now. It's a great time to be doing it, especially within the defense industry. Things are moving technology-wise so quickly. Cloud, defense, all those things. I think I'm privileged to be in the role that I'm doing. Okay, I'm near the end of my career. I think I've probably got about 7 years left, unless my wife keeps spending, which might make But I think it's a great time to be doing what I'm doing. From a personal point of view, I got married in March.
Oh, congratulations.
Big shout out to Kirsty, who definitely will not be listening to this.
I bet you'll be surprised.
I might make her listen to it.
Yeah.
But we got a number of holidays booked. I think one's in a week and a half's time. So I'm just looking forward to chilling out a little bit.
So how did the wedding go? Tell us about it.
It was good.
Yeah,
it was
what a wonderful
we did a twilight wedding. We had one of those singing waiters.
Oh, right. Okay, cool.
Which was fantastic. Nobody knew about it apart from us two. He got me up dancing, and anyone knows me, I have no dance moves, but where they came from, I don't know. Maybe a bottle of wine helped.
Yeah, well, there you go. That does help. That does help.
But yes, I'm just looking forward to getting away a little bit.
Well, many congratulations and enjoy your travels.
Thank you very much.
If you would like to discuss any of the issues on this week's show and how they might impact you and your business, please get in touch with us at cloudrealities@capgemini.com. We're all on LinkedIn and on Substack. We'd love to hear from you, so feel free to connect and DM if you have any questions for the show to tackle. And of course, please rate and subscribe to our podcast. It really helps us improve the show. A huge thanks to Danny, our sound and editing wizards Ben and Louie, our producer Marcel, and of course to all our listeners. See you in another reality next week.